Says we're live. We'll give it a few minutes, few seconds, make sure we're all kicking here.
Absolutely.
How are you, KS?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man. We dug you up and you're back.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah, there it goes.
All right, so we're live now.
We are live. We're kicking, and we even got an ad.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. They'll demonetize it anyway. Most of mine have been.
Isn't that just wild?
Well, and I put on there, if you want to be child friendly or whatever, and I was like, no, because I didn't want any of them, coming back later and saying this video is not child friendly, that video is not child friendly. So I just made everything not child friendly. And man, when I did that, my views. But whatever. So what's been going on with you, sir?
Man, just crazy. Schedule's full, and obviously some things changed over the last quarter of the year. It's so funny. I've had several comments, not only on Instagram but also on YouTube comments, because I still read them all. Still get comments every day because the channel's still out there, and some people have said they heard that I was dead. I assure you, I'm not. I'm right here. Been hanging out, but yeah, just busy, man. And after the whole demonetization and remonetization thing, something that I realized, because I was still putting out videos for about a month and a half, almost 2 months after the whole demonetization thing, on my regular schedule, all of that. And when they turned the switch back on, none of my new videos were being picked up. So they were automatically 100% demonetized. That in and of itself isn't that big of a deal. It's not about the money, but the problem with that is, and some other channels have said, monetized or not, you'll be suggested. That is absolutely not true. The videos, those newer videos, don't get suggested, and so they don't get the views. And if YouTube's not going to be putting ads on them or anything like that, why promote them? And so the business side of me just said, why am I spending all this time and effort and money and all that sort of thing making videos when they're not going to be picking anything up, and it's not going to be suggested picking up new people and that sort of thing? Because this is all about just having a good time with all the good people out there, all of you good people out there. Yeah. And so I've aimed my attention at other things, still gun related, still doing all that stuff. But it's a new year, and so I am going to be working on some videos again. The volume of videos will be dramatically different, I think, and that's due to scheduling and all that. But I'd like to get the cameras out and the lighting out and all that kind of stuff, and do some fun things again. So we'll see what happens.
Well, good deal. Yeah, that's like I said. We're welcome to have you back, whatever, and I'm glad that we were able to get you on tonight. 17 is actually got some family stuff going on this evening, so he will not be joining us, and he was going to, but this came up, so he had to take care of this, but he will be joining next week. So glad all the family out there could join. Really means a lot that y'all are spending the New Year's night with us, and I hope all of y'all had a great Christmas. I hope y'all have a happy 2020. That's what it's all about. We're just kind of getting onto some stuff, but here is a good question right here. And I know that you and I have talked about this before too. And just so y'all all know, KS and I have been talking outside of all of this. We hadn't lost touch or anything. So, but who is ready for the DWX Compact?
Well, so for me, it's not the compact. I want the full size, and that's on the list. That'll be one of the guns that I'll be really after this year. I'm not bringing on very many guns anymore. Just ones that I really want, and ones that I know I'm going to enjoy. And it's not about the reviews and that sort of thing. But that Dan Wesson looks pretty freaking cool. I'm a big fan of Dan Wesson. I've got two now, and they're just a lot of fun, and having that it's almost a hybrid between kind of 2011 and maybe Shadow 2-ish sort of thing. It looks incredible.
Yeah, and you remember this way back when I said, man, I wish CZ and 1911 or something would get together and somebody would make something, and they did, and so I'm super excited about it. But myself also, I'm excited about the large frame. The other ones maybe just a tad bigger than a P01, but that's really not the gun for me. I wish they would come optic ready. There's been, rumors saying, they'll eventually come and all that, but wish they were coming right out of the box with them. But still, that thing's going to be a phenomenal gun. I mean, looking at it, I'm just like, that is, and a lot of people, since I've been talking about this, they're like, would you carry it? And I'm like, hell yeah, I would carry it. I carried 1911s forever. So I'm like, it's really no difference. It's big, it's probably pretty hefty, but I'm not opposed to carrying it. What about you? Would you ever carry anything that big?
No, I definitely wouldn't. It's not my style. I'll tell you, actually, I'm carrying most of the time now my Glock 26.
Mm-hmm.
That's become something I just really enjoy having with me. I like having the 17-round magazine as a backup. I shoot it reasonably well. It seems to just kind of be kind of the thing. Now, I mix that in with the 365 and 365 XL and the Glock 43X from time to time, but the 26 is the one that I generally go to.
Yeah, whatever works for you. Matter of fact, there was a special Talo edition that I think it was like the Glock 26 Talo edition. It was like $389. I think it was Palmetto State or something. And I was like, wow, that's really cheap. But I guess got some of those they're trying to blow out. But yeah, Uncle Dan's asking. He doesn't know what DWX is. It's a Dan Wesson, and it's kind of like because of course CZ and Dan Wesson are together. And it's basically a full size, I guess you could say 1911 Shadow 2-ish, single action only, and it takes P09 mags. So, I've got plenty of P09 mags. So, and then the other one, the small one, takes P01 mags or CZ75 compact mags. But it would take a full size 75 mag also. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a really badass gun. I think the MSRP on it's what, like $17.99?
I don't think it's, well, I don't know. I'm thinking of distributor price. I can't remember the MSRP on it.
Yeah, I thought it was $17.99, but that's, just what they were announcing then. I don't know what it's going to be when it finally hits, but I think that's what they were saying. But let's see here. Colt Python. Do you have any opinions on that?
I like them. The Colt Python, the Anaconda. I think there's a Viper, if I'm not mistaken. That's a little one. I think it's the Viper. But no, they're beautiful guns. They are absolutely beautiful. In fact, I saw one come in as a transfer at Centerfire, and I want to say it was a Python. I don't think it was an Anaconda, but they're gorgeous guns. I think they're beautiful, and there's a little bit of mystique to them. So I think for revolvers, I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, and I personally never shot one. I've seen them and held them and touched them, and I've seen one that had never been fired. It was in the original box, and it was a super old one, and of course they wanted a fortune for it. But I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful revolver. But again, I'm just like, yeah, would that be something I would buy personally? Probably not. But I think it's cool to have that in your collection if that's what, if you're into revolvers or want like, one of the top-notch revolvers. I would definitely grab one.
Yeah, totally agree.
This is a good question for you. Have you seen the Hellcat, and what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I have one, and I like it. I like it. I think it's on par with the 365 with one exception, and that exception is the trigger. Springfield triggers, especially their really small guns, tend to be pretty heavy. In my opinion, they run in the 6 to 7 pound range, generally speaking, and mine definitely does. It's at least 6 pounds. So that's one that I like a lighter trigger. That's just me. I have more fun shooting when it's a lighter trigger, especially when I'm kind of battling a smaller gun that's got a little bit more recoil. I want that softer trigger, just easier for me. But it's a nice gun. I like it.
I shot Humbles. I don't own one personally, but I did shoot his, and I was at about 40 yards. I think it was 40 yards. It was either 30 or 40 yards. And I put a mag in it and just started popping it off. And it is a little snappy, but most of the small guns are. But I was hitting, the IDPA or the USPSA steel target. I wasn't having any problems with it with the stock sights. The sights aren't bad. They're actually pretty nice. But, I do notice that it's, of course, it's a little top heavy because it's got the taller slide. But is it a bad gun? I mean, I don't think so for a gun. Just depends on what you like and, what you shoot well.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, M. Jacksonian is saying he's had problems with two Hellcats, a chipped barrel on the first, and front sight walked out on the second. So never got slide locked, so I sold it. I don't blame you. I would too if I was having that kind of experience. I have not had any bad experiences with it yet. I mean, it's ran fine. I've only got maybe 300 rounds through it, but so far, I mean, it's held up quite well.
Yeah, I did see his video where there was a little chip. I think it was like on the feed ramp area, and he sent it in, and they said that they didn't have a barrel for replacement, so they just sent him a new gun, and then the site did that. So, but yeah, it depends on what you like and how the gun works for you. How I shoot it, how you shoot it could be different. That was kind of a video I released today, and I've had that video for quite a while. But, and you probably get this too. People ask, is like the P10F more accurate than the P10C, or is your SIG, more accurate than your Shadow 2 or whatever? And my kind of input was people are different behind different guns. So, like what I shoot really great or the trigger that I prefer, you might not prefer. You might not grip it the same. You might not shoot it the same. There's a lot of that. And accuracy is really, especially with the modern guns, the barrels are good. Most guns, modern guns are solid. So it's really the Indian, not the arrow. That's kind of my point of view, because I might see the sights differently than you do. But if we put them in a ransom rest, those guns could probably pop bullseyes, and it all comes down to the person behind the gun. I mean, that's my opinion, I don't know what's yours.
Yeah, I totally agree. 100%. And most guns outshoot the shooter pretty much every time. So it's going to be largely up to you. I'll hear people at the range say, "Hey, my gun is shooting left. These sights are off." And you take a look at it, even at a bird's eye view, they're dead on, and it's, the person is not doing anything wrong or whatever, but it's placement of the finger, it's the grip, it's the stance, it's a combination of those, it's closing the eyes and doing one of these things or whatever it is. And if you tweak some things that you're doing as you approach the firearm, you're probably going to make some improvements.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, like I've even shot guns where like that person had adjusted the sights, like if they're, adjusting them up and down and things like that for point of impact, where it didn't hit correctly for me. But then again, that's an adjustable item. I'm just talking about the gun itself. So, and if you don't like a particular sight, you can always change them on most guns. So, to make them fit more the way you want. But some of the questions that, I had, I write them down. And one that I got this evening that I thought was pretty interesting. Are you going to change anything in your EDC for 2020?
No, I don't think so. I've got my rotation that I really like and enjoy, and the rest of the gear that I keep with me. I don't foresee any major changes.
Yeah, and that was exactly my answer. It was like, you have your knives, and I can rotate different knives. You have your flashlights, you can rotate those. Of course, my tourniquet will stay the same. But the guns, can vary. And of course, if I carry a different mag for a backup mag for that different gun, it's going to be in the same mag holder because it's adjustable. But, I don't really, like all of a sudden, it's a whole different year, so I've got to completely revamp every piece of my gear. I don't do that. So, but I thought it was an interesting question. So if anybody out there does, do that. Now, of course, if it's, cold or summer, that could vary, with a smaller gun or a bigger gun. I usually carry no smaller than a compact, but, didn't know if that was something that, anybody else did.
Yeah, I'll adjust things a little bit in the summer, but again, not by too much. And now I'm trying to, and this is kind of a 1776 philosophy, dress around your gun, or we've all talked about that, and do a little bit better about not so much shorts and t-shirt, because that, I mean, to me, it's a very small concealed carry to be able to really conceal it well. or at least for me, my body type. I'm going to probably change some things up a little bit, shirts that I wear, that sort of thing, where I can be comfortable and carry a more comfortable firearm that's maybe not quite so small. So I'll try things out.
Yeah. Let's see here. What do you have like in 2020? What do you have that's like you've told yourself, I'm going to do more of this, or do you have anything like that? YouTube concern, and it doesn't have to be personal. I'm not talking about in your real work life, but is there anything you want to do differently in 2020?
Well, in terms of firearms, and I guess I've already kind of started this over the past few months, is really dialing in on the things that I really, really want or have wanted for a while, or maybe it's a new thing, and it's just it's for me, and it's whatever, and it might be something like I just got it's a Marlin, I think it's an 1864, whatever, the threaded barrel one, and I've got a can on it, that sort of thing, and that was a totally me thing. Just a lot of fun, tons of fun, but not something that I would have considered doing reviews on or anything like that, even if I was still doing a lot more videos or whatever. But yeah, so I've been just kind of focusing in on the guns that are really important to me, that I know I'll have a lot of fun with, like the DWX. I mean, that's top of the list, Yeah. Whereas if somebody comes out with another polymer compact, I'm probably not going to care very much. That's probably not going to be a big deal because I have what I want there. So it's a focus on the really fun stuff.
Yeah. And see, in 2020, and I've been talking about this for a while, but it is going to happen. I'm actually going to start breaking out a lot of the rifles that I've been, putting by the wayside that I actually own, and I have plenty of ammo for, and I have plenty of mags for, and I'm going to start shooting them and enjoying them. So I will be shooting a lot more shotguns. I will be shooting a lot more rifles, indoor, outdoor, all that stuff. But I really want to, not just focus only on pistols. And I want to better myself as a rifle person. I don't want to say a rifle man because I'm not, a professional or anything, but I just want to, get more into that, because that's what I started way back, after, or when I was younger, I shot a lot of rifles. So I definitely want to get back into that and have fun, with them. Whether it even be at 100 yards or 200 yards, 300 yards, whatever it is, I'm not going to be stretching it out to, I'm not the 1,500 yard guy or probably even the 1,000 yard guy, but, just seeing what I can do with it or with them. But here's a pretty interesting question, and I've been asked this before, but just separately. Does anyone carry pocket pistols anymore?
Well, I think people do, and I still hear people talking about them or looking to buy something they can throw in a pocket. I'm not a fan of that at all. I think the deployment lacks some adequacies. So it's not, I'm just not into pocket pistols. I kind of get the advantage of it. If you're going to the grocery store real quick, you just want to throw something in your pocket and go, I get it. But I still would rather take the time, get a holster on, again, it's all about being able to deploy that when I need to efficiently and not have to worry about fumbling around in my pocket. Did I grab it right? Is the holster going to come out with it? Things like that. So it's not a thing for me, but people still use them.
No, I totally agree with exactly what you said. I'm the same way. The only thing that I would pocket carry a pistol in or pocket carry would be like in a coat pocket, like a zipped up coat pocket, where, I could stick the pistol in the pocket and just, reach from there. And hell, if you had to shoot from a pocket, at least your first shot before it knocked it out of battery, something like that, or you could grab it out of the pocket and go to work. But yeah, I'm more of a, keep it in a holster and just, because you start changing stuff and that could cause you to fumble, or as long as you practice with both, I guess you're going to be fine with both. But pocket, I don't wear super baggy ass pants, so I don't think that would be a great thing for me to start digging in my pants trying to find the gun. What do you think about Ruger? They came out with the LCP2, but it's in 22. What do you think about that?
I didn't even know they did it. It's not a thing for me.
Well, and think about it this way, and I thought, and I like 22. I think it's fun, but they have the LCP2 that's in 380. which, they're both really small guns. They're probably going to be about the same size, I'm assuming. But, 380s and that tiny of a gun, they can be very snappy. We know that. But, you might pop a guy in the chest or whatever. But imagine having, I don't even know how many it holds. I don't know if it's 8 or 10 or 7 or what. But, if you've shot 22s before, I mean, they're super accurate, and you could put, 7 or 8 shots in somebody's eyeball, or at least in their nose area, their T area, if you had to. And I think that's going to do the job. But I would only use that as a backup gun, like the little pocket type gun we were talking about. What do you think about that?
Maybe as a pocket gun. I would be a little bit more on board with that, but that would be the only application I could see for something that small. I mean, I'm looking for a 22 pistol, but I want it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more full size or compact, something like that, where I think it would be better not only as a training aid, but also you could take it with you camping or something like that, or whatever. So just something that little. Again, the applications are just too narrow for me, I guess.
No, and I understand. I'm just saying, if you had to carry some little tiny backup gun, that might be a good option, because the recoil on it would be nothing. And then that brings us to the other Ruger gun, the new Ruger 5.7. Of course, that is a 5.7. If you're familiar with the FN, it's been out for quite a while. And have you ever shot an FN 5.7?
I have.
What do you think about it?
It's been a while. So I don't really remember the experience altogether too well. It was fun. It was loud, but it was fun. But I just don't recall it well enough.
Yeah. Well, I had the FN. I had the what was it? The FDE one. They first came out with it, and it was the sought after one, and I got one, and that was back. I mean, it's been, gosh, it's literally probably been 5 years. It was like right when they first came out, and the ammo was like $49 a box or $50 a box for 50. It was crazy. Now it is a center fire cartridge, so it's not rim fire. So it was very, it wasn't flawed. I mean, it fired every time. I didn't have any issues with that, like you might with rimfire. But the FN, the safety sucked on it. The trigger really wasn't that great. The sights weren't that great. And I shot it, okay. But it just wasn't that great. But the thing I've seen about the Ruger 5.7, all the stuff they've changed on it is all the stuff I hated about the FN. Now, I've only seen videos. I haven't seen in person. But also the price point, the MSRP is like $799, and some people have been saying the street price is going to be like $600. Yeah. I don't know, but that's and definitely the 5.7 ammo has came down in price, but it's still not, it's not 9mm price. But I think it's a pretty cool gun, and it does give you 20 rounds. But the ballistics of that is not just like incredibly awesome. But then again, you've got 20 rounds, so. What do you think about something like that?
Well, again, I like it. I think it's cool. When you get back to the argument of, if we're talking practicality, it's not the most practical, because the ammo is going to be harder to find, the parts, the magazines, all that sort of thing, right? So if we're talking just something that's kind of weird and different and relatively affordable, like you said, that you could add to your collection, I'm all for it. I think that's cool. I don't think it's something that I'm going to be worried about very much. That it's not on my radar, but I know several guys at Centerfire that they're jumping on it. So, so I know it's going to have a following.
And I think that, here's where we talked about, with like the EZ and stuff like that. I mean, the 5.7 is super easy to shoot. It does have it's got a little muzzle flip on the, we'll put it this way, on the FN, it kind of did. And I think that's the way that it was balanced out. But I think for people with maybe like hand issues, and it's kind of a big grip on the 5.7. Some people said it was too big. But I think that for somebody who's recoil sensitive or needs a really cool gun with a lot of ammo, or that can hold a lot of ammo, I think that might be an option for someone. Yeah. An expensive option, as far as ammo, but.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, yeah, and that's that. And Uncle Dan's saying this exactly what I was just fixing to say. He just popped up this question. 5.7 is a bit better than 22 mag, but more reliable in a semi-automatic platform because it is center fire cartridge.
Right.
Because I've had a lot of people, even when I had my 5.7, I had buddies who were like, man, my 22 mag will do the same thing. And then we even shot them together. And that's what would happen is they would either have a bad round, where it wouldn't, it was a 22 round. So, it wouldn't hit it correctly or, send it off. But 5.7 that I had always went off. So that was one good thing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But, here you go. Really good to see you, KS. I don't have a man crush, but you were missed.
Thanks, Channel Cat.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely missed.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you, Dave Gass. I appreciate it. Yeah, I did the PDW, but it really wasn't about the PDW. It was more about the accuracy thing that I was talking about, because I get asked that all the time, But let's see here. Wouldn't carry a 5.7 unless you had to shoot through 3 baddies at 100 yards. And I mean, that is, it's definitely a fast round. I mean, it would sail through windshield, it'd sail through, a lot of stuff that you needed it to. And, going through the soft body armor, it's been proven that it will penetrate that. But once it penetrates it, what kind of damage is it going to do?
Right.
That's where they're like, look, it went through it. But if you really put something on the other side of it, it doesn't really, do a whole bunch, but it will penetrate it. So,
yeah, it's true.
But let's see here. Anything else that you've been, kind of thinking about or excited about? We know we've got SHOT Show coming up. Anything you've been thinking about?
Oh yeah. So I'm excited to see what comes out. I am looking forward to, and you guys know I'm a Glock nerd, so I have no problem admitting this, but I'm excited for the Glock 44. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's already on the list, so that'll be coming. If nothing else, I think it'll be a good training aid. I love the fact that it's not a captive barrel. I think that's really cool and kind of a different deal. So I'm excited for that. But another one's been the Beretta 92X Performance. I do have one, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it is. First, it's a tank. I mean, the thing weighs 48 ounces. I mean, it is an absolute steel beast, but incredibly pleasant to shoot as long as you can hold it up. And I think they did a tremendously good job with it. I think it nudges out the Langdon and the Wilson Combat, at least in terms of just overall shootability. Although all three they're phenomenal firearms. So I've been pretty excited about that, and the Shadow 2 Orange. That's been a lot of fun as well. So
yeah, I think also there is a new micro red dot, that could be going on the 48s and all the smaller pistols that is supposed to be released at SHOT Show. Nobody is saying what the brand name is, but I have a feeling it's probably Trijicon, which would be probably more robust than the Shield optic and things like that. And probably the new SIG, what is it called? The Pro or something, the little bitty one.
The micro.
Yeah, micro, because I played around with that. Texas Gun Experience, and I mean, it's all polymer, and it's got like a little bit of stippling on the sides, and it doesn't seem very robust. I mean, it seems like it could just snap off, but then again, I haven't shot it, so I don't know or played with it. But I did get to play around with it and look through it. But I don't know, man. If there is, supposedly there's that micro red dot that these guys are saying that don't buy micro red dots until after SHOT Show. So I'm interested in seeing what that's going to be, because that could lead to even more coming out, better ones or, different ones. So I think that's a pretty cool thing.
I have one paranoia about that. I guess it's a paranoia for other people, not necessarily for myself, because I'm not really into red dots as much. But as we've seen with standard pistol red dots, there are a variety of different posts, if you will, screw holes, footprints, that sort of thing. And I have a feeling that micros are going to be the same thing. So you might have to deal with a variety of different plates or get cut for a specific one. And you're going down the same road, the same path that we have with the other. That's frustrating for a lot of people.
Yeah, supposedly this one is supposed to it's supposed to fit the little shield, and it's supposed to also fit the new little SIG. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And like I said, we won't know. I'm sure after SHOT Show, and even coming up to SHOT Show, they'll probably be releasing some stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, so we can get a little hint of what's coming.
Yeah.
Is there anything as far as rifles, shotguns? I know that you got that one rifle. Is there anything else that you're thinking about or that you're excited about?
No, not anything on the radar. Admittedly, there's a Beretta. I think it's the M4 or whatever it is. The super cool Beretta that Centerfire got and used. That's freaking sweet. I've always wanted one, but I have zero justification for it, so I'm not going to do it. But it's pretty cool to walk around holding one of those things. I mean, they are absolute beasts. But I did build another AR. It's another 10.5-inch. But this one's kind of fun because it's got the carry handle at the front post. It's a little bit more old school, but in a 10.5 format, which I just really like quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So that's been a lot of fun. I started to enjoy really putting those things together and the build, and so that's been fun. That's been cool. But no, nothing else on the radar, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as ARs, true AR, I don't think I would go anything lower personally than a 10.5. That's just my opinion. That way you got the correct cycle rate and all that stuff. I don't know about. I've shot some of the really, really small ones, and not that they have problems. I just don't know if you would quite get the ballistics out of it because you're just lack of barrel. But I know Uncle Dan has some small ones, and they'll he's taken down some stuff with it. But I'm just saying for my own personal use, I don't know if I would go below a 10.5.
Yeah, most people say as long as it's 8 or over, it's pretty reliable. Once you get under that, then you can start having some gas issues, what have you. I'm not an expert, and I have zero experience with that, but I'll stick with 10.5. I like that size. It works pretty well for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as like, what do you have stuff coming up that you want to talk about? Anything, or you're just going to do what you do stuff as you want to do, or do you have stuff lined up already?
I have potentially a couple things lined up, but I can't say anything yet. Okay. Unfortunately. So that will come when it comes.
I got you. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I do have a new partner that reached out, and I'm going to be working with them, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's something everyone can use. I don't want to announce it right away, but I think it's pretty cool. And like I said, I'm just some of them are actually, there's 2 more partners. I've been hinting on one of them, I've had some people reach out and say, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, nah, that's not really, I'm not into that, or I don't want to do that. So I don't just pick up anyone. But it's usually stuff that I've used. And actually some of these partners are who I've bought from before and had really good experience. So do you have anything coming out like that if you want to talk about any of it?
No, not at this time. I've had some companies companies have continued to reach out to me, just a few here and there. One was a trigger company, and actually for ARs, and they look like freaking sweet triggers. These are Geisley or better type trigger drop-in triggers, that sort of thing. Not my bag, not my cup of tea, but they definitely look very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think, and someone brought this up a minute ago, I think that Smith & Wesson will release their optic-ready pistols at this SHOT Show. I think if they don't, they're crazy. But I think that they're going to go ahead and throw them out. I bet the compact has it. The full size has them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. If they don't do it now, man, it would blow my mind. They've got to do it, especially they're doing it on the Shield, where a lot of people don't care quite as much. I mean, I have serious doubts that they're selling truckloads of the 4-inch Shield with the red dot on it, right? I mean, between the price point and the fact that, people aren't looking for that as much. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I don't hear at least people locally clamoring for those. So I think going for the compact, the full size, that's the right road to go.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. I think that that's what the people want. And again, if they choose not to put an optic on it, it's got the plate on there and they can run it like that. But I think, Smith & Wesson has been behind. I mean, their 2.0 is a great pistol. I just think they've just been dragging their butt on this. And, I know that it was sent out for testing to some departments and things like that, but I'm kind of like, does it really need to be tested? I mean, there's so many aftermarket companies that have been cutting those, and had really good success with it. And I understand they probably want to make sure their plate, system is correct. But I'm just kind of like, God, guys, it's not that freaking difficult to cut a slide and get them out to the public.
Right. We had a troll, by the way, just so you know.
We did? Where?
Jonah never sleeps. Sleeping now, aren't you?
I was going to say, let's put him to sleep.
What's up, Baldy?
What's up, Mr. Bald and Curious? Yeah, I think the Dan Wesson DWX is going to be the only thing that concerns me about that. And we know this about Dan Wesson, when they come out with 1911s and stuff, especially if it's a really hot one, they're very hard to get. And, or certain places only carry them. And I'm wondering, if when the DWX comes out, if it's going to, if they're only going to do like 100 of them or something like that. I wonder if we're going to run into a situation like that.
It's quite possible. I think it'll be probably limited runs, or our luck, it'll probably be 1 million compacts and 10 full size, and that's it, or something like that. But hopefully not. I mean, Dan Wesson doesn't, they're not releasing them all over the place, and that's any of their firearms. Hopefully this will be no different, and you'll still be able to get it. You just have to work at it.
Yeah. And they're going to go on, they'll throw some up on Gunbroker for like $2.5 million, I'm sure, too, when they first hit. Let's see. And Fina brought this up, and yes, Fina, this is actually on my list. So the Texas church situation, of course, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and haven't done a video on it or anything like that. It was they definitely took out the trash. They handled that, but I didn't want to jump on and throw out a video and stuff like that because, the people that didn't make it, their families were involved. They had, CCTV and stuff in the church, and people were throwing that up on YouTube saying, oh, here it is. And I'm like, man, the families haven't even been made aware truly what's going on. They're already throwing it up. So I wanted to wait a little bit, but, what is your feeling on, and it goes back to gun-free zones. We've talked about them. There's no reason to have them, period. It just invites wolves to the hen house. But what's your opinion on this situation that happened at the church?
Well, this is one of those situations where there was an equalizer, right? There were good guys with guns there. And so obviously tragedy, regardless, any way you slice it, but could have been a lot worse.
Yes.
And I think we're seeing more and more often that churches are opting to have a security team of one sort or another, and usually congregation members, or it could be real security. I mean, who knows? Either way, but just places are starting to realize, hey, it's probably a good idea that we have the option or have the ability to handle situations should they arise.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when it goes back to, sorry, I'm trying to get back to this. As far as the teams, like at my personal church that I go to, we can conceal carry. They actually will not allow open carry. And I do know some of the guys that are on the security, church security team. Some of them are ex-military. Some of them, are not. But it goes back to the very first person. If you did watch, he was trying to reach for his gun and he kind of got held up and stuff like that. And if somebody's doing that and the bad guy's right there, that's not a good situation to be in. But yeah, the I believe his name's Jack. He handled what he needed to handle, and he did it the correct way. The thing that was concerning to me after they took down the threat was the one guy that was running down the center aisle, and had his pistol with his finger on the trigger and was pistol waving every person in the gallery as he was running to the front.
Right.
Oh, and that should have been muzzle up or muzzle down. I mean, but he was just, I mean, getting after it. And I don't know if he's on the church security team or if he just happened to be a person that was carrying in the church. But, you know, I'm glad they took out the trash and ended that thing. And I think he did a hell of a job. And yes, he should be. It should go on every news channel. And I kind of watched some of the news channel to see how they were handling it. And, you know, out of all people, Beto made a statement, Francis made a statement. Oh my gosh, another church shooting in Texas. What are we going to do about the guns? He didn't recognize that there were 5 people or 6 people with guns, and they took out the threat and saved a lot of lives.
Right.
Didn't look at it that way. Looked at it as another gun grabbing opportunity.
Right.
And, you know, that's the thing about this. It needs to be at the forefront, and all these companies and all these churches and, you know, things like that. There shouldn't be any gun-free zones, period. At least concealed carry, at least.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee your insurance is not going to cover, and that's the way that I look at it. If you throw a sign up at your business saying no guns are allowed, if a person walks into your business and they are attacked by a gun or whatever, you should be held financially liable since you chose to put that sign up on your business.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's my opinion. You know, you should pay out the wazoo because you put that person and those people in jeopardy.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's see here. Let's answer some questions. There was one here I was trying to find. Oh, where the heck did it go? Oh, yes. And it was a 357 SIG 238, I believe, wasn't it?
You know, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the bad thing, I don't know if you heard this, but, you know, he's a firearms instructor. You know, I think he's ex-law enforcement, maybe even FBI. But he actually had a range that he trained at every day that he owned, and the range burnt to the ground. And I think it'd be really cool if somebody would, you know, sponsor him to get their range back and maybe help him out to train, you know, parishioners and things like that at churches. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
And that I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, how far is that from me? And it's actually 45 minutes from me. So it's it is not right in my backyard, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, no joke.
And I'm glad they didn't make the shooter, you know, the bad guy. I haven't seen where he was highly publicized. And I think that that's one of the good things that they haven't done recently also. I don't know if maybe in different areas, if they're publicizing him. Do you know if they are?
I have seen nothing.
Good. Yeah, I haven't really either. I just didn't know about other areas. But let's see here. Is there, and of course you're not going to SHOT Show. I'm not going to SHOT Show, but is there, I mean, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that, you know, you're excited about, any type of gear or anything?
No, not really. And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm out of the loop a little bit. I've been a little bit behind on new things coming out, all that, because I'm not paying as much attention to the YouTube stuff and that sort of thing. So I'll be probably hearing about a lot of this stuff as everybody else is. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's TN Star. What's up, man? Yeah, and I definitely appreciate everyone jumping on and joining us. I didn't know what the turnout would be. I didn't know if everybody's going to be busy this evening or if we would have a good turnout, but it looks like we've had a really good turnout. Oh, okay. Someone's saying they think it was a 229 Legion single action only. Yeah. It's a nice pistol if that's what it was. I heard it was a SIG, but I heard it was a 357. So now I know they make one, but okay, MD Polo saying he had a 229 and 357 SIG. So, but let's see here. Yeah, and you know that even, you know, of course Uncle Dan's talking about it, but you know, the person who attacked the mosque, you know, with the knives and stuff, or that, I guess that was in you know, New York or something with the you know, all that stuff. I mean, if you have any kind of gun-free zones or anything like that, bad guys don't read the signs. They just walk in and they do what they want to do. You know, the bad thing is all the honest people who read the signs are the ones that leave their guns locked in the car or something like that, and they're just left unarmed.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a good comment. Scott's saying he's betting the shooter doesn't meet the narrative. You know, and also he was a felon, so he shouldn't have had the gun in the first place. So we don't know if that gun was stolen or what was going on with that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You have a question. Oh, you just answered it. Never mind.
So that was the answer. Yeah. So I do still have the X Compact. I don't have the X Carry anymore. Although that's a great gun. I chose to keep the X Compact. I absolutely love that thing. It's a fantastic firearm. And it goes well. I've got a 226 Legion SAO. So they're a nice little pair together. But yeah, I'm pleasantly happy with those.
Now, is there a gun or a couple of guns that you're really, really enjoying more and more? That you haven't talked about in a while?
Well, like I said, the 92X performance has been a lot of fun, as has the Shadow 2 Orange. It's a little bit different than the Shadow, not by much, but just a little bit. So I've had a good time with those. I'm trying to think of what else I've really been on with the range. I did get the both the SIGs back from Honest Outlaws, so I do have the X5 Legion back. So I put some rounds through that. That is still an incredible gun. I love that firearm. It really is. It's a high recommendation for anybody that's looking for a full-size fun firearm or competition firearm. I mean, they're for the money. They're phenomenal guns. So those have been kind of the big things. I've been taking a lot of my Polymer 80s back to the range. It's been a long time since I put rounds through any of those, and most of them have been great. I picked up a couple of new cans, a couple of Rugged Obsidian 9s, one in FDE and one in black. Just running more cans when I can. Get it? And that's been a lot of fun. Some of the Polymer 80s do not like the cans very much at all. They run into a lot of issues, whereas some of them just take it like a champ. So it's kind of fun to mix and match and see what works and what doesn't.
Gotcha. All right, here is another question. Have you seen the STI 2020 lineup? The Staccato C2 is amazing.
Yeah, I have the catalog. Yeah, they all look very cool. The WX is the one that I'm most excited about. That's the replacement for the DVCP, I believe. So I'm all on board on that. It's an expensive firearm, but they are incredible. A buddy of mine at Centerfire's got the DVCP. He runs the absolute snot out of that thing. I'm sure he's got at least 1,500 rounds through it, and he's only had it maybe 3 or 4 months. And it just is a ton of fun to shoot. Now I've got the Combat Master, which I love quite a bit, but that DVCP, that compensated barrel, man, that's pretty darn cool.
No, it is definitely cool. Yeah, I've looked at them and I was like, yeah, that's the one that I would get. I think it's pretty badass, but it is $4,300, I believe, 42 something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not cheap, but they are really cool. So, here is a question. Thanks, Uncle Dan. I appreciate you, buddy. If you hadn't left yet, thank you. He's heading out. What do you? And I've always been curious about this. Did you ever collab with Flux? You know, with their brace system for your SIG, or have you looked into them? Or even, I'll add this. What do you think about them?
Well, so Honest Outlaw actually sent me his Glock, and I think it might have been a Glock 34. I can't remember. It was either that or a 17. It did have the Flux brace on it. I didn't do a video on it because that was kind of in that transition time. But it was fun. It was fun to play around with. I'm not real into that sort of thing. If I'm going to be shouldering something, I'm going to go for some sort of PDW or AR or something like that. So it's not as big of a deal to me, but it's kind of a cool little trick or novelty, I guess. It doesn't get me excited in the morning.
Okay, gotcha. All right. We have to find stuff that gets us exciting in the morning.
That's right. That's exactly right. So is your 6 covered saying STI is junk? Sorry, better guns out there. I don't know, man. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's got an Infinity, so.
Oh, Infinity.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like the Akai's too. They are super nice. But yeah, and I mean, it goes back to, pistols, like whatever works for you, whatever is in your budget, get it and run with it if that's what you like. You know, I know some people save up, for $6,000 pistols or $7,000 pistols, and if that's what you want, get it. Or if you want to get a high point, get it. It's whatever, to each their own.
Yep.
Let's see here. Any other like PDWs or anything that you shot recently? I know you have a few, but anything that you've been excited about recently?
Yeah, no, I still have the same four that I did put videos out on. There is one that I've been kind of excited about. I cannot remember the name right now. It's not even on the tip of my tongue. I think Honest did a review on one. I think Such did one not too long ago. It's kind of like, it's about $800. It looks a lot like a Banshee, and they've got a variety of different colors. Again, I can't remember the name. Somebody in the audience hopefully will think of that. Those look pretty cool. But if you have one or a couple, there isn't necessarily a need for more. So I'm just trying to enjoy what I've got, and it's not about, oh, I have to have the next thing, I'm trying to get away from that mentality a little bit.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. And I mean, that's, kind of what I've done is buy for what I want, not necessarily just to do a review on it, but what I want and what I want to keep and, hopefully enjoy. And there might be some that I get and I don't think they're all that great, so they move along. But, yeah. And the Channel Cat's pretty much summing it up right here. No high point for me, Taurus all day.
Absolutely. Go for the gold.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I'm seeing on a lot of the Taurus videos, they're working. And I don't know if you shot the one that you had, the G2, or the one that you have. I don't know if you've shot it recently, but any problems or anything that you've had with it?
Totally flawless. Admittedly, I haven't really shot it much lately. I think it's maybe got 1,100 rounds. I know I did 1,000 round review, and then I did some ammo testing after that. But it's otherwise been sitting in essentially the glove compartment after that. It's just kind of that'll stay in that little box until I need it. But I'm fully confident in it. It did more testing and more rounds than most that I would be comfortable with. So I think it's fine.
Good. Yeah, and this is, we kind of talked, maybe Pat just came in, but we were kind of talking about, shotguns and rifles and stuff. That's what I'm going to be doing a lot with in 2020. But, there is not, and I agree, we don't talk a lot about shotguns. Do I have one? Yes, I have more than one, but he just purchased a Mossberg 590A1, and he's all new to this. And that is actually my favorite tactical type shotgun, is the Mossberg 590A1, I think is what he's meaning. But, I think they're great shotguns. I love Mossberg. I have no issues with them, and there's reasons that I like them over other shotguns. But what's your opinion on shotguns?
I like shotguns. I don't really have a use for them right now. It's something I used to compete with. I used to do a lot of sporting clay and trap. I never was really into, oh crap. Why can't I think of the other one? Skeet, thank you. That was not my thing, but I enjoyed sporting clay and trap. So I shot Benelli's, generally speaking, a Super Shot, a Montefeltro, and then there was one other one. I can't remember the other one. It's around here somewhere. But after I got out of competing, they've basically been gathering dust, and that's it. So again, not a lot of application. Now I have it's a Remington 870, pull an old pump, probably $200 pump that sits relatively close by if for some reason I needed it. But no, it's not for me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got 6 shotguns, but a lot of them, some of them are old classics, Wingmasters. I've got 2 or 3. I think I have 3, or actually 3. I think I have 3 Wingmasters still left. I had a collection of those quite a bit, and I got rid of some of them that weren't as collectible. I've got an FN, what is it? Or it's the Sweet 16 or 16. I can't remember the name of it. I haven't shot it in years. And then I've got 3 Mossbergs. But the thing I really like about Mossbergs over the Remington is the safety. where the little trigger guard safety, the little push button thing, it's not feasible for my hands. So I actually prefer the Mossberg safety up on the top.
Mm.
And that's one reason I'm a big Mossberg fan personally. Nothing against Remingtons. I've had them, many of them in the past, but it just didn't work well for me with the safety issue.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, have you shot your TSO in a while?
No, man, I haven't shot that in a long time. That's another one I need to get out and shoot. And the PO1, I haven't shot the PO1 in a long time either. So I'm trying to get back to all these guns. I've been focusing on getting more ammo, and that's so I have the opportunity to go out and shoot more and not worry about breaking into the reserves or anything like that. So one gun at a time, but trying to get back to all of them when I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what, I was talking about this the other day. I've got a bunch of pistols and stuff that I haven't shot in probably a couple of years. And I was just like, I was looking at them and going, man, what am I going to do? Am I going to keep them, or am I going to, I don't know. I mean, they are just sitting around, of course they're in the safes, but they're just sitting there. And I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of, I'm still collecting, but I'm talking about the ones that are collection worthy. If it's something I can go out and just buy tomorrow or whatever, it's not really collection worthy. So I'm kind of looking at some of that stuff and, might make some changes on some of it. I don't know. So, And yes, I was going to say on the, if you're definitely a lefty, the Mossbergs are very friendly, with the safeties. A lot of people, I know they're left-handed. They actually prefer the Mossbergs for that reason too. Did you hit the mega Walmart clearance sale? Bad Billy's wondering.
No, I buy bulk at Centerfire. And lately I've been doing they've got some range ammo. The brand is called On Target. And they're reloads. They're professional reloads, but they're reloads and they work in most everything. There are some firearms that do not care for it. In fact, I was talking to Pistol Pete, the Dan Wesson ECO. I got a ridiculous deal on that. I couldn't pass it up. So took it out to the range. First day I was using that On Target ammo. It did not care for it at all. It would run around and then it would just stall. It would not go back into battery. It would kind of lock up a little bit. So went back to normal store-bought ammo, ran like a top, not a big deal at all. That's what, it's funny. A lot of times people get really upset. Oh, my firearm ran into all sorts of issues. And the first question I almost always want to ask is, what type of ammo were you using? Oh, it was reloads, or this type of brand or this type of brand. Switch it up. Switch it up. That would be the first thing to try to troubleshoot before you go looking into new mags, new parts, new gun, things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's some guns that can be pretty finicky on, especially if it, you don't know who reloaded it. It might not be to spec. There's a lot of, and I'm not a reloader, but I know that can happen. And I hit some of the Walmarts and man, they were just wiped out. I even went in there like beforehand and they had already cleaned out the place. So, this is a good question. What is the best CZ compact to carry?
I would go somewhere between a P10C or a PO1.
Yeah. Now, what I would recommend is going to a range and trying to put your hands on some, or if you know people that have them, and try some. Because you could, it might not work for your hand size, whichever one, but I really like the PO7. And I actually prefer, and I've said this before, I actually prefer my PO7 over a stock PO1. That's just me for my hand size. Then the P10C. But it depends on how you're going to carry it, what fits your hand the best. There's a lot of variations there. So for us to tell you which one to buy, that's, kind of hard. We can just give you recommendations and ultimately it's your decision. But, those are some good ones to try out. And yeah, the PO1 is a great pistol. If it is the PO1, depending on your hand size, you might want the extension, to give you a little more pinky. But that can definitely help you out there. But they're all great guns. It depends on what you shoot the best too. Redbird has been listening to the chat, but working. Just wanted to say hi to KS. Happy New Year to all. Great chat, Big J. Hang in the end, but I will say good night. Hey, good night, Redbird. We appreciate you.
See you later.
Yeah, God, Bad Billy got 9mm for $4 a box.
Jeez.
That's crazy. That's a smoking deal.
So Randy, you're playing the CZ Rammy. I'm not, and actually, Clarence said Rammy as well. I'm not a fan of the Rammy.
I'm not a fan of the Rammy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I think when they came out with that gun, it was almost, and this is just my opinion, it's kind of like they were like, okay, we're CZ. What's the coolest James Bond looking gun we can come out with? And then they made the Rammy, because it's just, and I've shot them, but they're just not. I don't know. Unless I put the extension, the bigger extension, I can't even put my hand on it. They're so tiny. And some people, the double action is really stouter on that gun than it is on most PO1s. I mean, I've seen people try to shoot it and they actually start shaking trying to pull the double action. So, and I'm not saying these are hardcore gun guys. I'm just saying the average person that gets it and tries to shoot it. Because the person I know that has it, yeah, that's what happens to him. But he's a little older gentleman and has a little bit weaker hands. So it's just not very user friendly for him. But when it goes off and he hits the target, he's happy. So I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, Keith is saying the Rammy is just like the Glock 26. I guess it's similar. What's up, Midas? Good to see you, man. Let's see here. Well, we're getting about that time. Is there anything that you know you have coming up that you want to pitch or anything like that?
No, I'm going to keep it a surprise or secret or mystery for the time being. But hopefully, all will work out well. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could join again this evening. I mean, that was a big treat, and I'm glad that we were able to do that, especially for the first part of the year. Happy New Year to everyone. And, I've got some stuff coming out and, some new goodies I got and some stuff that should be finished up pretty quickly. It is another custom item that I'm pretty excited about. And like I said, we've got a new partner coming to the channel, so I'll introduce that soon, and hopefully y'all are excited about that. But anyway, we appreciate it so much. Appreciate you, KS, for being on. 17 could not make it this evening, but he will be back next week. And, if y'all have any questions below, leave them below. KS will try to answer them too. I'll try to answer whatever I can. And we appreciate it so much. Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe out there. And if you have any closing words, KS, you can close it out.
Well, a couple things. It's been so much fun to see all of these familiar faces, avatars, names, all of that sort of thing. You guys are an amazing group of people. I have missed it a lot, and I still see some of you guys commenting on videos periodically or whatever. So I appreciate that very much. But hopefully we'll see each other more often when possible. Again, schedule has changed a little bit, so just have to kind of make do with what I can. But it's been a lot of fun, and have an incredible beginning of 2020. It's a whole new year, new exciting things coming up, hopefully for each and every one of you guys. But Big Johnson, thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime, sir. Everyone have a great night. Carry on. Be safe out there. We appreciate y'all.
Thanks. See ya.
Take care.